We good to go?
You're all set?
Friday.
Okay. I'd like to call this February 18, 2026 meeting of the Boone County Industrial Development Agency to order. First item of business is the oath of office and acknowledgement of fiduciary. Chris is on the line and he will take the oath for board members that were not here last week.
I think that's Mike
Mike
and
and
Dan.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep, Mike and Dan only, if you could just repeat after me. I state your name,
I
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the office of member of the Broome County Industrial Development Agency
of the office of member of Broome County Industrial Development Agency
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you for your time, gentlemen. We've got just a note that they've submitted their signed oaths and acknowledgement of fiduciary and over in the file. And as we begin today's meeting, I would like to remind everybody of our duty to act in the best interest of the organization. In keeping with our conflict of interest policy, I ask each board member to disclose any actual potential perceived conflicts related to matters on today's agenda. If you believe you have a conflict, state it now, write it on the form provided so it can be noted in the minutes. If a conflict arises during the discussion, please bring it to our attention immediately. If a conflict is identified, the board member must exit the meeting while the item is being discussed. Transparency protects the integrity of our decision-making and the trust placed in this board. I'll note that Dan Gates identified a conflict with item 12 is on the agenda. Is that correct, Dan?
Correct.
Okay, so at that part of the meeting, Dan will exit. Everybody else good?
Yes, sir.
Good. Thanks for completing the form. Next item on the agenda is approval of our minutes from the January 21, 26 meeting. Everyone's received a copy, had an opportunity to review them and comment. Could I have a motion to accept the meeting or the minutes? Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
We're unanimous. Let's move on. We've come to that part of our agenda where we have public comment session. Anyone wishing to speak on any matter concerning the IDA, this is your chance. Please state your name and address for the record and limit your comments to 5 minutes.
I'll take that chance. You know, it's come to the conclusion that I speak more at these meetings total than, except for Stacy, maybe. I'm gonna time them out, you know? So see, I don't have to be a board member. On the oath of office that you just did, that is, I hate to tell you that, that's about 2.5 weeks late. Under New York State law, you have to take the oath of office, sign the oath of office card within 30 days, or the seat is vacant. So, these people needed to leave, and they needed to be reappointed or consider other appointments, but that's the guy over there on the TV, that's the law. He likes to pipe in. I'm sure he'll pipe in, later. And it's just, you know, that's just the way it is. I think you need another study, like you need a hole in the head. I remember when, that Juanita Crabb was doing the hotels, you know, and she was told, you put another hotel here, you know, the other two are gonna go. And, poor Nikki Serafini and Jim McCoy bought the DeVille. And, you know, she wanted to put the third hotel there. Some things is just common sense, horse sense. You can't be a tourist area without a 5-star, hotel. The closest thing you got is the Traditions, you know, where, you know, somebody that comes in from out of town is not gonna feel like they're in Podunk. You know, that's reasonable. On a sunny day, you come and see the grounds. That's okay. Put a lot of money into the DoubleTree. Those people were aces that bought that hotel. And, that hotel was absolutely not built by the numbers at all. If you ever stayed there before they came in, you'd hear every breath, every television sound, every water faucet dripping. It was a horrible, horrible building. And those guys did a job. And I might add that they wanted to put the, second tower on 20 Holly Street. And I was in discussions with them, and just sharp people. And I said, that was always meant to be a two-story building. And the guy calls me out of the blue. He said, we just found the plans. And they were prevented by two of our people in a business community from doing that. It was a disgraceful, absolutely disgraceful thing of where people are kept out in it. A sinking boat lowers all boats. So what would I do if I were you? I would stop with the studies. I would, I mean, look, 2027, there's gonna be a rental property collapse. It's already happening in Oneonta with Newman's foreclosure there. They're going after him personally, not this Newman, another Newman, another more famous Newman perhaps. This is the hill on Syracuse. So, I hate real estate. I hate it as a business. I don't know why people do it, to tell you the truth. I talked to a developer once and he told me this. He said, I work for the Binghamton Savings Bank. He says, they give me money to develop and I pay them the interest and I'm a bank employee. That's what he said. So, in your figures about economic activity, and it's sort of what I was attracted to, it sort of looked like my EKG, the downside of it. You don't seem to take into any account the bankruptcies. You got a couple of big bankruptcies and you don't seem to deduct, it's sort of like, for that economic activity, the negative account, you just keep the one-way, things. Glad to see that we're gonna build a needle park in Binghamton. It's $43 million, and we might as well start right now because anybody that thinks knows if that's the plan, what are you gonna do? I suggested this. The only thing that the state should have done is they should have put like, little drawings of people kicking soccer balls and things like that, because that would have been reassuring rather than just this empty grass field that is totally meaningless. Is there ever a year where Binghamton, no matter how bad the roads are, where there's not a project going on that completely destroys what little business they have there? Is there anything? It's wedding season, people come in and, they gotta go through all this thing. So, what the heck's that?
That was a 5-minute timer.
Oh, okay, I thought it was, somebody calling that liked my comments,
Maybe we are live.
Patreon or whatever.
Thank you, John. The agency's policy to provide members of the public with the opportunity to speak and share their views during the public comment period, which we all know. My board does not engage in discussion or respond to comments at this time. Please understand that a decision not to respond should not be interpreted as agreement or disagreement with any particular statements that were made. All comments are received respectfully and are part of our official public record. Next item of business is Executive Director's Report. I would note that in your packet is the IDA project report, which is a spreadsheet that summarizes that as a project pipeline. You can kind of see, what projects are in what status. And also included in that packet is the annual report, which I'm sure Stacy will speak to. With that, take it away, Stacy.
Okay, good afternoon, and yes, a few updates just so I can out-talk Mr. Solak here. We did issue our annual report for our activity in 2025. This is posted to our website and will be included in our annual Paris report to the authority's budget office. On the whole, we feel it was a very strong year in supporting a number of housing projects, a number of adaptive reuse housing projects, as well as a manufacturing expansion, alongside a number of small business incentive programs and loans. In total, a little bit by the numbers, our totals, were roughly slightly more than 85 million combined in new private sector investment supported, by IDA assistance. Total jobs, are approximately 493. This includes 380, construction jobs. Total payroll for the construction, just shy of 37,500,000. For our small business incentive program, total of over 5 million in new investment, over nearly 308,000 in new tax revenue, and 18 new jobs, and for loan amounts, about 460,000 approximately in loans issued by the IDA. So on the whole, we are proud of the work we did to support projects like the Penn Trade Center, the redevelopment of the Davis College, the expansion of Toyota Raymond into our community, and support for First Ward Action Council's Gateway housing projects. So we expect it's quiet now, but we expect a busy year ahead. We are in conversations on potential future housing developments, more to come there. An update on the ultimate redevelopment of 600 Main Street. We have met recently, our project team met with the Department of Environmental Conservation as one of the final steps towards advancing our preliminary site plan to the town of Union for the elevation and building out of approximately 14 to 16 acre shovel-ready pad at the former BAE site in the town. We expect to provide all preliminary site plan information to the town of Union by month's end, roughly in the next few weeks. We expect a few meetings between the planning board and the town board, of which we hope to receive a full site plan approval. LaChase Construction is leading the procurement process for fill. I think they received 5 bids back, and I want to thank Dan Gates for his input and review. We expect somewhere of about $7 million worth of fill needed to build out that pad to get it out of the floodplain. So that's a lot of dirt, but we think we can build a really dynamic and highly sought out industrial site in the town of Union. So if all goes well, we would love to begin that work by June of this year. And a note that this funding came from the New York State Fast New York program. So we're certainly appreciative of the funding necessary to get that site back to better use. We recently issued an opinion piece on how regions like the Southern Tier could support and make opportunity out of the development of Micron in central New York. To that end, on March 17th, tentatively, if that doesn't change, it's booked now, but we have representatives from New York State's Go Semi office in town to discuss needs to support supply chain build out, but also generally to take a close look at a number of sites that they have needs for companies looking to locate in New York. We will be taking them on a tour of the Huron campus in the village of Endicott, and as well giving a presentation on the proposed Broome Technology Park. Segueing into the tech park, we are near complete with our generic environmental impact study. This has been a very lengthy but comprehensive process of review of all of the potential impacts on the project with mitigation strategies, and as well highlighting the net positive economic impact we believe the park will have. It is the plan at this point in time. I always like to say subject to change if the studies aren't complete, but I feel confident to say we would like to bring that to the board by next month's meeting, in which we would begin a very engaged public presentation calendar, which we're working to fill as we speak. So I think I sent you a tentative master calendar for some of the required steps of the seeker law, which is the board acceptance of the GEIS, the publication of the GEIS, and a required public hearing. We do expect to go above and beyond and embark on a robust public engagement process with that. Other than that, Natalie and I attended the New York State Economic Development Council's winter conference in Albany last week. I had the opportunity at my EDC board meeting to hear from Budget Director Blake Washington on items in the 2026-27 New York State budget. One area of concern that was identified by myself and colleagues from other IDAs across the state was the lack of funding for Fast New York. We are working through our legislative officials to make sure that the true value of that program is noted. I think one of their comments was feel that this could be a biannual appropriation, or the fact that there are still some funds in that bucket right now. However, I know with the tech park and some other IDAs that are doing some large studies like ours, that money can go very quickly. So we're continuing to discuss that with our elected officials. And lastly, they also talked about some common sense, what they're calling common sense reforms to the seeker process to advance housing development in New York State. I don't have all of the details of those, but more to come on that. Other than that, I think that's it, but happy to take any questions on these or any other outstanding business items.
Stacy, how much do we have to raise that 600 million? You told me once, how many feet?
So just in order to meet the DEC's requirement, it would be a minimum of 2 feet of fill, but to elevate it out of the floodplain, we're planning to go up about 6 feet.
Oh, 6 feet.
Mhm.
But then it's ready to go.
It's gonna be shovel ready. It's not just fill.
Yeah,
The
right.
Chase put it out as,
It's also bringing in a stump road and,
yep.
yeah.
And depending on if we get inquiries during the process, they can adjust things,
Mhm.
which brings me to the question is there's a difference between the bid pricing and what was allocated for it.
Correct. Yeah, so
That's Stacy's job.
we were awarded 11.3 million dollars in awards. Should we, we are reviewing, the cost for the fill came in below that. So we have the engineering team looking at, are there any additional infrastructure improvements we could add to, such as tie-ins to truly make that turnkey?
Right.
Or, we could have the option of also not.
Gas line.
Utilities, whatever else.
Is that,
Yeah,
is the fill compacted?
Yes.
Yes.
ready to build, you said, right? Yeah.
That should make
Which
that,
my concern was it was in the specs, that it's coming from one source.
Because the DEC has to sign off
Not
on the
want
fill.
it
They
coming,
want a
somebody's
single
garbage
source.
from here and there and all over the place. It's coming from one source,
Oh,
so.
yeah, you mean, yeah, that makes sense.
And just so for a refresher, we already have an existing easement with the DEC as well as NICEAG. DEC for access to the flood wall, the levee behind at the far end of the site, and as well with NICEAG for utility access. Part of the design would also include a grading, sort of a gradual grading in the front to with sort of what the concept is kind of a linear walkway to really make that site stand out, and because you don't want to go from street level 6 feet up. So that would not be that attractive, but it's moving along well. Conversations, Amy's been doing a great job leading the work with the project team. I think the conversations with the DEC went very well.
Oh, yes.
So we're modifying at their request a little bit of the site plan ultimately before we bring that to the town. We've done a preliminary discussion with the town planning director as well as the town supervisor and sort of the overall timeline of this process. But yeah, if all goes well, we can start laying dirt down in the summertime.
To Dan's point, though, that's a good time to do those utilities and stuff.
Yes.
Won't get
With
even,
it.
even on the perimeter,
Yeah.
If that helps somebody come in to develop it,
Yeah.
we can help you with this or that or
That's
the other
great.
things as well.
what's the project's duration?
For Phil,
Yeah. Complete
If
the
it
project.
starts in June, it's supposed to be done by the end of the
I
year,
was gonna say, I think
Okay.
it was.
Just the
End of fall, it's not.
unless there's some delay, right?
At that point, we should have a pretty marketable property.
Absolutely, and we already are building out marketing specs. I will be attending the Site Selectors Guild. This was a recommendation of New York State Economic Development. They participate in Site Selectors Guild. That will be March 22nd through 23rd through 25th. That is, it gives you very strong access to some of the larger national site selection firms. So we will prepare to market that very actively once.
Be a good site then,
Yeah.
get all that
Great
done,
site.
yeah.
I think this turns out to be a way better option than our Right, the first couple generations, we were just gonna sell it to whatever would take it and leave them responsibility and nobody wanted to do it. This gives us, we're using state money, not costing us anything other than our time and energy. And we wind up with a property that's actually marketable and saleable. I think it's a way better outcome. Any other questions for Stacy? Okay, next item on the agenda. The review acceptance of the interim financial report and loan activity. It's dated June 31st, 2025. Everybody's, I'm sorry, January 31, 2026. Better all the way across the board. Any question? Everyone's received them. Everyone's had an opportunity to review. Any questions for Natalie?
I have a few comments. I'm happy to report Antonio's loan has been paid in full.
Nice.
All right.
So that's good.
Everybody.
Yeah, several of the COVID loans we did back in 2020 will be paid off this year, so there's probably 4 to 5 of those.
Sure.
And then hopefully, next month I will have a loan to present to you.
Good. Thank you. Any follow-up questions for Natalie? Well done, Natalie. Let's move on to new business. There are several items on this agenda that are annual filing requirements. Most come from governance. So let's get on with it. Item number 6 on our agenda, resolution approving the summary results of the confidential evaluation of board performance dated February 6, 2026. I believe this comes as a motion from governance.
This does come from governance, the recommendation.
Thank you. A second. Thank you, Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Item number 7, resolution approving the 2025 mission and measurement report of the Boone County Industrial Development Agency. This also comes from government.
This comes from governance with a recommendation to approve.
I would note that the measurements align very closely with our strategic plan. Does anybody, can I have a second to the motion from governance? Thank you, Dan. Any comments or questions? There being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item number 8, resolution approving the readoption of the agency's bylaws, operational procedures as modified and set forth in the written resolution, also from governance.
This comes from governance with a recommendation to approve by the board.
May I have a second? Thank you. Any discussion?
I'm abstaining. There was one reference to a modified travel policy, and I don't have a conflict, but just under to make sure that there's a chamber member who could fall under this as a contractor. And I happen to be related to that chamber member, so I will abstain.
Okay, I don't think it doesn't sound like a conflict, but probably let's avoid any appearance. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
One abstention. Motion carries. Item number 9, resolution adopting a policy on board member requests for information. This comes from governance as well.
This comes from governance with a recommendation to approve.
Thank you. Second, thank you, Mike. Nick, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, resolution authorizing the transfer from the Economic Development Fund in the amount of $10,000 to fund a portion of the cost of a hotel market study in the county. This comes from Audit and Finance.
This comes from audit and finance with a recommendation to approve.
Second, Nick. Questions? Discussion? There being none, let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any abstentions? And no nos. Item number 11, resolution authorizing the engagement of CART Strategies to provide planning services to support the development of a regional workforce training center and the network for advanced manufacturing to service the southern tier. This comes from governance.
This comes from governance with a recommendation to approve.
Thank you. A second, Nick. I'd note that CARP is also WMBE, which aligns with some of our other objectives.
There is also, if I may note, an SV,
Yep,
SV,
SDVOB.
SDVOB. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, so can now explain to us in English.
Yes,
Yes.
and CARP is particularly well known for their work also with socially economically disadvantaged firms as well.
So
So we,
SETI.
so we checked a lot of
We
boxes.
checked a lot of
SETI,
boxes, there's a lot of acronyms.
Okay. Any discussion on the motion?
Where are they from?
So the principal CARP is based in, New York City, but the team comes from all parts of upstate New York as well, Buffalo, Rochester, yeah, so it's a multidisciplinary team. The project lead, Rebecca Carp I think she's based in New York.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition or abstentions? There being none, we're good. Item number 12, I think Dan needs to step out. We'll call you back, Dan, we promise. Item number 12 is a resolution to confirm certain findings of the agency as required pursuant to New York State Public Authorities Law with respect to the agency's transfer of certain real property located at 162 Endwell Street in the town of Union, county of Broome, and the state of New York to NIBLIF LLC. It's come from
This
governance.
comes from governance. We had good thorough discussion and council elaborated on the need for it, and it comes with a recommendation to approve.
Thank you. Second? Thank you, Mike. Any discussion? Questions? Let's vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Somebody let Dan back in.
I know, I needed to, I was sitting too long.
Thank you, Dan. Next item is old business, of which we have none listed on the agenda. Does anybody have any old business that they would like to bring to the board? Sure. There being none. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Thank you, Peter. Second.